about the books we're gonna read in February too?
Dude, we're already recording, man. I hate you.
Are we actually recording right now?
Yes, I hate you.
How did I miss
much.
that? Y'all for sure.
Yo,
cut it out, though, don't worry.
dude, what's up, man? I'm Brock Purdy. With me, as always, is Patrick Mahomes, and we are here for another one. We're here to give you our January wrap up. We're just gonna real quickly talk about what we hit in January of this here 2024 AD. And let's just start it right off with Promise of Blood, man. We've both been really excited about getting into this series, and this book was freaking great. Is this... where's this ranked? We've read 5 books. I'm just going to go ahead and rank them as we go. This is my... Dude, actually, now I'm kind of scared. It's either my second or third favorite of the year.
Third. Wow, that's bold.
That's only... I mean, we'll get to it, but it's probably second. It's probably tied for second with another book, I would say.
The 5th season?
It's not that one, bro. It's not that one. So, yeah, Promise of Blood I thought was really, really good. Brian McClellan, first book in the Powder Mage series. I gave it a 5. You gave it a 5. Great read.
Mm-hmm.
Just felt like it was different. It's different than the fantasy I've read, at least. I haven't read a ton of fantasy, but just felt like the magic system was really original. The story was super engaging. The writing was so good. I'm a big Brian McClellan fan after reading that first book.
I liked it. I thought it was better than... I know we talked about this off air, but In the Shadow of Lightning was my first Brian book.
Oh, yeah.
And this series is way better. Unless and that's not... The other series isn't bad. It's just this one's better, for sure.
Yeah, it was super good. So I would say, of all the stuff we've read in January, the Powder Mage series is going to be the most highly recommended from me, and I would think it's yours as well. So yeah, Promise of Blood, definitely recommend getting into the Powder Mage series. Next up, Way of Shadows, number 1 in the Night Angel series by Brent Weeks. I gave this a 4. I think you were around the same, like 4.2 or something like that.
Yeah, low 4.
Not as good as Promise of Blood, but still good.
More twists.
Yeah, more twists.
More shock factor of like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, more shock factor. More characters, kind of more going on, I would say. Definitely covers a much larger span of time. Yeah, writing's just not as good as McClellan's Promise of Blood. I know Brent Weeks has a lot of stuff out there, and I think this was kind of early on in his writing career, but, it was still good. There was definitely some elements that were, not for me.
Yeah, just some minor elements that JC didn't like.
Than the felons. But, yeah, Way of Shadows, I gave it a 4. Definitely a good book. I'd recommend it if you're a fantasy fan, but if you've not read either of the first 2 we just mentioned, I'd go Promise of Blood every time over Way of Shadows.
If you're like younger in your like reading career, you might like it though. You know what I mean?
I actually don't know what you mean. I don't know if I want to know.
Dude,
so, next up, what we read next was the 5th season. And this book was just...
Oh, we did, yeah.
Was just booty.
This thing was dog water, bro.
Yeah, I guess when I finished, I did give it a 3. Like, I don't know. I'm a little too respectful with my ratings because that should probably be a 2. This book was garbage. I cannot, whatever the opposite of recommend this one enough. And we've got reviews for all these videos we're going to hit here. So if you want to see full fleshed out reviews of these books, you can on the channel. But yeah, this was the low point for January by far. Is the 5th season. The 5th season was one of the worst seasons of my life. Let me tell you.
I'll never get the time back that I spent dedicated to 5th season. Yeah. I'm really just glad that I bought the entire trilogy before we read the first
That's
book.
such an L. And you've had it for a long time.
I have, brother. I have.
And what's funny is, like, I've seen the series physically in your collection and always, like, it's always been a series that I've been looking forward to getting into at some point. And I was really excited to read this, and it was just such a disappointment. Such a disappointment.
God.
If you're a dork,
awful.
go ahead and read it. But this book's not good.
No, it's not. But a book that is good, Foundry Side.
Foundry Side. Book number 4, January 4th.
Jackson Bennett.
What a guy Robert is. Oh,
What a
RBJ.
great guy. Another good thief. Little thief, not assassin. I was gonna say assassin. Another thief trope that I think was done well, and
Yeah.
curious to see this series. That's one of the ones I'm definitely more interested in to see how it
Yeah,
develops.
me too.
Shorefall
Yeah, we've only read
is
that
on the
first one
horizon,
of the
but
Founders trilogy. Yeah. And I had high expectations for this, but I could not have expected where it went and how much I actually did end up enjoying it. I gave this one a 5. This is the one I was saying. So Promise of Blood and this one are tied for second best of January for me. And the last book we'll talk about is going to be number 1.
I like that.
So yeah, it's probably Promise of Blood, probably inches out the win, I would guess, but Foundry Side was good, man. I would highly recommend this one to anyone.
I agree. I liked Foundry Side a lot. It was
Yeah,
very.
super
I
good.
like the companion aspect. I feel like I haven't read a
Mm-hmm.
companion in a while. I know we talked about that in our actual long review, but
Yeah.
yeah. Which one surprised you the most out of those first 4? Like when we were review, because we knew we had these mapped out. We knew we were gonna read these.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which one?
The one that surprised me the most was the 5th season. I was surprised at how bad it was.
Yeah.
Because I had high expectations for Promise of Blood and Foundry Side, and they did go above those expectations. But how much lower the 5th season went below my expectations just takes the cake home as far as surprise. It's such a good concept, man, and it could have been great if it were written by one of these other authors that wrote either if McClellan or RBJ had taken this one on. I think it might have been better, but we got NK on it, so here we are.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the biggest surprise for me. What was yours?
Maybe Foundry Side. I know, like, I'd never heard of Foundry Side before. You were kind of the one that brought that to the table for us, so
Yeah,
I was pleasantly surprised. And I will say, because I've read Brian McClellan before we read, before we started the Powder Mage trilogy, I'm like even more pleasantly surprised about his writing because it's better. And normally, I guess I don't know. Would you say authors normally like their newest stuff is the best? I mean, I guess that's not always. You can't always say that, but
yeah, I think
sometimes
it's
people are
case
like, "Oh,
by
that's
case.
his
But
first thing."
well, you would
So
think
it's not as
naturally though.
good.
Yeah, you would think naturally that the newer, the more recent stuff is like they've mastered their craft.
Is
so you
on
would
par
assume,
to the best. Yeah.
yeah, because like Sanderson, I mean, Stormlight's his
Sunlight
best
Man.
work. He'll say that himself.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
It's
I mean,
not the best.
yeah, Sunlight Man's not the best though. Okay,
But
cool.
anyway,
So yeah,
I
the
just
last one,
like it because it's a good anyway. And I'm curious. That whole series is just that series, and then the trilogy afterwards. I mean, is gonna have to get read at some point.
yeah,
Like of Gods and Gunpowder, something like that.
I think it's of Blood and Powder or something like that. So yeah, that brings us to the last book of January that we did read, and this is the second in the Powder Mage series, and this was the best of January for me, the Crimson Campaign. This was so good, man. You guys got to read this series if you haven't. Yeah, you're not quite done, so we can't really go into it. And I guess we don't have the review out for this one, but it'll be out soon if you're watching this. But yeah, this book was so good, man. I mean, this trilogy is going to be competing. Like right now, like this isn't Stormlight level for me, but the Powder Mage series is hardcore competing with Mistborn Era 1 for me. How this third book ends up and how the series ends will dictate it for sure, but it's obviously very different. It's hard to compare, these fantasy books when there's so many different elements that make them so different, but just the writing and the engagement and just overall enjoyment, it's right there with Mistborn Era 1 for me.
Yeah, I think it's more my wheelhouse, like of what I normally like. So I agree.
Yeah, there's a lot of grit to it, man, and especially again, I've said this about this series, but as a history fan, like it being in like a what would you say, like a Civil War era kind of setting, somewhere around there, just makes it even more fun. Just the elements that are thrown in with that. and it's
Well,
obviously intertwined with the magic
I
system.
really
so.
do like that all the characters are older.
Yeah, that too. Like, I mean, there's Cop Hole. There are some younger characters, and Taniel, he's young 20s, but a lot of your POVs and the main character, the guy who's on the cover, it's like a 40-something-year-old dude. So yeah, I do like that because usually fantasy, you're always following young people around for the most part.
I like that. You want to go over what we're doing in February? Or what we're reading in February?
Yeah.
So January, we got 5 books out. February, I mean, I'm assuming we're going to try to get the same.
Yeah, so we'll have...
Sure.
Yeah, number 2 in the Founders Trilogy,
Shorefall. After that...
and then we'll hit Nevernight.
Yeah.
Book 1, Lycanius, Book 1.
But Nevernight's what, Jay Kristoff. And then I'll pop these up on the screen beside us. And then,
Shadow of What Was Lost, James Islington.
That
we'll also have some nonfiction coming out for you guys. We'll have a biography on James Madison that we're reading, and then I'm also myself finishing up a series on the Roman Empire, a trilogy by Tom Holland, renowned historian on the subject. So I think, what is that, 5? That's probably, Pax.
Yeah, but we'll also get Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, most likely, and then I got a feeling we'll be dabbling into whatchamacallit once we get ready. Into Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence.
Yeah. So we got a lot of fantasy coming up. We're starting off the year pretty heavy on the fantasy stuff, and we have some fun stuff planned with it that we're going to do just as far as videos we're making. It should be fun. So, you'll see a lot of reviews and some different stuff. I'm excited for it. We got some cool stuff coming up. We've been reading some good books. Really, the only low point of January was 5th season, so the year's honestly off to a great start. I saw that Tom Orange has not gotten a 5-star yet for this year, and we've already got 1, 2, 3. So that's exciting.
Yeah, but 5-star for him though is so much different for us.
Yeah, he does seem to be a little more
I don't think I
like
have a 5-star yet. Like a 5, like what his 5-star would be.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe I'm not finished with Crimson Campaign. I'm close. I could see where this one is going to be close.
Yeah, I'm really generous with my ratings, so yeah, it's definitely not the same. I think Tom's better at actually rating the books accurately, but
I think that's more of is anything over like a 9.25 total, which I don't think we've had one. Like when you look at our totaled up once we've broken down some of our stuff, which hasn't come out yet, but one day it will.
One of these days. Yeah.
One of these days.
I don't know. We'll see. Let us know if you've read any of these books that we've read. Let us know what we should read based on this. And I think that's it. January is wrapped up. We'll see you in February. Peace.